Hello and welcome back to the IB Personal and Professional Skills class Part A. You are in Module 1 of our Reflective Project section. This module is going to help you understand what exactly is the Reflective Project. The aim of this module is to build up your knowledge on what it means to produce an extended piece of work. For this module, you will need paper and pen or pencil to write down ideas, and a computer with an internet connection to take the comprehension quiz at the end of the module. To help you with the comprehension quiz, I'm attaching some fill-in-the-blank notes that goes along with this module. You can fill it out as you watch and then use it to help you answer things on the quiz. Okay, let's go. What is the Reflective Project? The Reflective Project is one of 4 compulsory elements in the IB Career-Related Certificate Program's core. Compulsory means that you have to do it. You might recall the 4 core elements are service learning, reflective project, language development, and personal professional skills. The reflective project is an in-depth body of work created over an extended period of time. In-depth means that you are going to be asked to explore more than one way of thinking, and over an extended period of time means that they expect you to spend 50 hours over 2 years on this particular piece. Now, don't get overwhelmed by that. It's not too bad. And 50 hours over 2 years, that's not that much. We are going to spend most of year 1 just getting familiar with the knowledge you're going to need that will help you make a really good in-depth argument. That will be about 20 hours of work right there, or about 2 hours a month. The reflective project can be lots of things. More on that later. But whatever you create that will be your reflective project, it has to check off these overarching goals. It should show evidence of research. And let me just stop here and say by research, what IB means by that, in addition to your normal research, you're going to be expected to go beyond the internet and actually talk to people and ask them questions. It should show evidence of you having written it. Now, written it, this sounds like you are going to be making a research paper. But like I said, the project can be lots of things, so don't get nervous that it's just all writing. It's not. It should show evidence of your communication skills. Now, this is code in IB language for your presentation skills. It should show evidence of intellectual discovery. So this means they want you to focus on making something like an inductive argument, where you come to your probable answer to the question based on the probability of your premises. Look, if all that sounds confusing to you, don't worry, we're going to train on this year. It should also show creative thinking. Lots of ways to show creative thinking in an IB class, but an easy way to think about creative thinking in this type of project is by a method called extrapolation, where you are estimating future outcomes of your decision based on what you've presented. Again, if you are confused by the terms extrapolation or inductive argument, don't worry. That's part of what we're going to be training in year 1. Okay, so you've got research. You are assessing the research you got. You are connecting dots and drawing likely conclusions from it. And you are looking into the future using your imagination and making logical guesses based on the evidence as what you think will likely happen as a result of your conclusions. But conclusions about what? Okay, I'm glad you asked. It all comes back to your career-related study. You are going to pick an area of interest within your career. So, for instance, if you're studying leadership management, you might be interested in environmentally sound business practices. If you're studying education, you might become interested in online learning. If you're studying culinary arts, you might become interested in the sourcing of ingredients needed to make your products. Next, you are to identify an ethical dilemma within that issue of interest for you. So, let's say in environmentally sound business practices, you focus on the way government can create laws that force businesses to adopt environmentally friendly practices. And your ethical dilemma within that may focus on to what degree is it ethical for governments to force businesses to comply with environmental regulations. Okay, let's look at online learning. There are many schools that are 100% online, but why do they even exist? What is the point of it? And more importantly, does it make education more or less equitable? By equitable, that means who benefits the most from online learning and who is most at risk to suffer because of an online learning situation. That's what you would call an ethical dilemma. So let's say you're looking at culinary arts and you're thinking about where ingredients come from that make the products you make. And maybe you can get those ingredients cheaper in another country, but that country may have questionable business ethics, especially when it comes to equal pay, child labor, or, and this is true, maybe just some of these countries are using businesses to launder drugs, and drug cartels are running those businesses, So to what degree should restaurant owners be mindful of or, feel like they're actually part of the problem when it comes to where they get the ingredients that ultimately become the product they sell? This is an ethical dilemma. An ethical dilemma, as I've told you in other modules, are situations where there isn't really a clear right or wrong answer. And whatever answer you ultimately arrive at will have winners and losers. Now, IB is really clear here. They don't just want you talking about the specifics of your particular issue. They want you to talk about the nature of the ethical dilemma within that issue. If that sounds confusing to you, it's just because you haven't had much training yet in ethics, and that's part of what we're going to be doing in year one. And part of this study is going to be looking at how different groups of people can look at the same set of information and come up with different decisions as to what is right to do and what is wrong to do. And actually, when we are talking about that particular dynamic, what we're really talking about here is intercultural connections, because culture can be more than just the culture of the community in which you live in. It can be the culture of the group that you're aligned to as well. So from just what I've told you, we are going to be spending most of our 20 hours this year looking at how to create logical arguments, looking at how to think critically, looking at how to identify ethical dilemmas. We're going to spend some time on ethical training and different theories about how people come to knowledge and how different people come to conclusions to decide whether something is true or false, right or wrong. I don't want to say much more about your reflective project except to briefly talk about assessment. If you remember from an earlier module, IB has set a very reachable bar for this program by saying that the teacher has to award you at least a D on your reflective project. So if you aren't the greatest writer or you aren't the greatest presenter yet, don't worry. Yes, this teacher is going to grade you according to the rubric, and the rubric is rigorous. But even if you get a lower score than you'd like, it doesn't mean you don't get to wear the IB stole at graduation. So with that said, officially what you need to turn in for the assessment is the project itself and a 1,000-word reflection on your process in creating it. So you might be thinking, 1,000 words, oh my gosh, what the heck? Don't worry about the reflection. You may have noticed in the design of our course we have 7 scheduled reflections embedded in just our first year. Each of those reflections are going to ask you, as part of it, to take time and reflect on your process within the reflective project. So when it comes time to make your official reflection, it should be really easy to just go back and pull out your favorite moments from those reflections. Okay, if you've been filling out the notes in this module, you'll see that we're done. All that's left now is for you to access the comprehension quiz in our module to test your knowledge on these ideas. Thanks a lot. The intention of this module was to help you understand what exactly is the reflective project. The aim of this module was to help build up your knowledge on what it means to produce an extended piece of work. Thanks.